Hello everyone. Today is going to be a little shorter video because I made a mistake with my last pottery. And lots of you are going to laugh at this mistake, but what actually happened was I made all these beautiful earthenware pots. Then I painted them, glazed them, whatever, and then the water was dripping through and I'm thinking, why? I've sealed them so well, the temperature was right. I was really careful on triple, double, everything checking. Anyway, silly me. And thank you for my subscriber that mentioned it to me. I didn't paint the bottom of them with glaze. And when you're doing earthenware, you do need to glaze the whole thing because it is much more porous than mid-fire or stone. So anyway, we are back to put a little bit more oatmeal on the bottom. So I've already done one coat of all of these. These ones here were done first, so we can put a second coat on them. But basically, I try not to. What I'm actually trying to make myself do is sort of do this and pretty much line them up. So then I will know, okay, the first row or the second row, whatever row I'm working on, has been glazed once or twice, because if I don't do that, then we've got a tragic accident and it means that I won't have done some. So these ones are a different color. These are going to be raspberry. So I will do those for sure. So that is what I've been working on. And today I had to go back to my local ceramic store, which is Walker's. And I actually bought these. So these cost about $4.50 each. And it's basically, little stilts. So obviously we're going to make these, paint them all, make them all gorgeous. And then we're going to use the stilts because obviously they have glaze on. So we don't want to put this on the shelf because it would just stick to the shelf. So, but with that, then once it's done, we can pull those out once it's fired, cooled down and everything else. And I really want to get these into my kiln because I have actually pre-sold some of these, especially the ones with the daisy at the front. And I've also pre-sold some of my Humble Bumble, which is this one here with the bee, and also with the spoon. So, and also I'll show you what else I've been working on since we're talking about glaze mistakes. Hold on. So I have this wire, which I also bought from my ceramic store. It's only like $3. I've bent these little kinks into it. And then basically when I get my spoons, they're going to go like this. That's why I put the hole in. And of course, the middle of the spoon is not going to be glazed. You're going to make sure you clean that. And then they are going to hang in stilts. So the stilts will be here and here. And then they're just going to hang on there and they are going to be fired like that. So this bit won't touch the ground either, or any of this. So we will not have any, bumps that we have to sand down. And of course, if the bump's here, well, this bit's going into someone's mouth. So you kind of really don't want any bumps at all on that. So that's what I've been doing with that one. So I thought, oh, look, it has been crazy just trying to figure out how I'm going to do things and make them work. And earthenware is something I don't really use. I've never really used it. I've always used stoneware, and but then once I started doing what I'm doing now, of course I've started using mid-fire because my kiln just doesn't love me and it doesn't want to get to that level. So, and if you've got an old kiln, sometimes they just don't want to get to stoneware, heat. But my kiln is not made for stoneware anyway. It doesn't go up to that firing range even when it was new. So that's basically what I'm doing. So we're going to paint all these, make them gorgeous. Now this is not a glaze brush, I know. I do have a glaze one, but it's only for the bottom, so it'll be more than fine. So I know these ones are pretty okay. This one I won't. I'm a bit worried about doing. The ones that I won't do. Now, hold on, let me organize it because we want to know which ones we can and which one we can't. This is the thing. I know I'm going off on something else, but my thing is I'm always in a hurry. So I'll be like, I'll do this one and that one looks drier and that one does. But then what actually happens is then I get to the end and I go, which one has actually been done twice and which one hasn't? So rather than doing that, I'm going to be a good girl. I'm going to let all of these dry. Then we're going to come back and do its second coat. And I do have my TikTok live coming up in a few minutes. So I'm going to do that too. And then what I also want to do is I do have more of the ones with the daisy. I've painted all the oat color on the outside, and I need to do the clear glaze on some of the other daisies. So, and I did buy more clear glaze today. So we will do that today. And then I'm really excited about my little mushrooms that I have been making. So all of you know, you've seen all of these cuties. And the next ones are different to these ones here, actually. They're just a little bit different. They're bigger. They're much, much bigger. So they will be in the next video. And maybe I'll do a video on them because I've had a few people ask me how to actually make them. So I'm going to show you, there's 3 different ways to make like mushrooms like this. So, you know, anyway, I won't go in it today because I think it will be too confusing for everybody, including myself. So anyway, we have got all these. I've showed you how we've got the stilts, and there's different size stilts as well. So this is the stilt, and this one says it's NC30. Basically, it's like 3 centimeters across, but you can get ones that are 5, 8 centimeters and so on. But if you look at this, that's how it's going to go. So the metal bit sits on here, and you can see it fits pretty perfect on this. Now, I didn't want one that went over the edge. I wanted to make sure it stuck within this inner circle that I carve out when I do the trimming. So you can see it really does fit perfect. And then this ceramic part sits on, you know, on your shelf in the kiln. So obviously it sits, you know, the right way up. So, but anyway, that's how it goes for these ones. So I hope that explains that, because I didn't really understand stilts at all. Until I started watching YouTube and a few different videos, and I was like, okay, I get it now. But anyway, thank you to that follower that did mention about doing the bottoms, not just the tops. And you wouldn't believe it, I actually threw out 30 of them. I threw out 30 things I made because I thought they were broken. Anyway, they probably weren't. I just didn't glaze the bottom. But anyway, it's a learning curve. There's nothing we can do about that, my loves, is there? So, yeah, anyway. We will keep going, won't we? Now, one thing I did want to talk about as well with these stilts is they don't go up, well, these ones that I've got from Walker's, they don't go up to stoneware. So these can be fired up to 1100 degrees Celsius, but definitely no more than that. So it was pretty clear when I got them. They said that the little silver prongs, they will just warp and they will melt down. So you definitely can't have it over that, or they won't work and you'll ruin all the stilts as well as all your work. Because then what would happen is it would melt down to this, you know, this ceramic bit, and then it would literally go into the product, so this would stick to it. So anyway, so it's more for earthenware, I would say, or very low mid-fire. So, but I'd say more earthenware is what you want to use these for. Anyway, so that is that. But I'm going to bring you back when we go over to the kiln. We're going to set it all up. We're going to add it into the kiln, and I'll show you exactly what it looks like when we pop them all in. So here we are, everyone. Everything is in the kiln looking gorgeous. So I have some mugs in here, some bowls, and of course all the other gorgeous things that we want to see come out. So let's close up this door. Let's start this kiln, and then we will see in about 24 or so hours how it's going to turn out. So very, very exciting, isn't it? So let's go with these gorgeous ones. Good morning, friends. We are back. They are done. Don't they look so beautiful? So these are the Humble Bumble ones. They in are a gorgeous oat color. And here is the gorgeous spoons. Aren't they sweet? They've just turned out so nice. So that is what we I managed to get out of it. Here are a couple of the daisy bowls, which are looking super sweet. I do think I will be much happy with them, to be really honest, you know, when I do them in mid-fire next. And some of my cups have come out. Look, they do look cute. I don't mind them, but the raspberry color at the bottom, it's very, very liquidy, and I did 3 coats. Honestly, I think it needs at least 4. So I probably will end up putting some of them back in, But then, you know, I've had a few people say, don't worry, but anyway, look, it's a learning curve, and this is earthenware that I tried out. Honestly, I won't be sticking with earthenware. We will go back to mid-fire. I definitely prefer it. It is a much more stable clay, in my opinion. But anyway, I thought that you might just love the end result to see. Now, with these Humble Bumble ones, I can't decide if I'm going to go back in and put a gold onto the bee, because I really did think of putting a gold, but for now I think they look really gorgeous in this beautiful oat color. So the glaze I have used is oat, and it's an earthenware glaze from Walker's in Australia. So I hope you've loved it. Make sure you give me a super duper big like, and I'm going to see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching, friends. Bye.